Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the CFS Health Recovery Podcast. Super exciting to have a special guest with us today. A lot of you know this person. All our members from around the world know who she is, but for a lot of people outside of the program, you may have spoken to her, you may have seen her name through email or through our free Facebook group, our information recovery group. And if you're not in that, go over there now and add yourself in. But a big welcome to the CFS Health Operations Manager and Client Success Manager, Ash Ward. Hello.
Hello.
I asked you to come on because you are a big part of CFS Health and you have been for a while now. You're an integral part to CFS Health, but I wanted to get you on because you see the day-to-day stuff that's going on with people around the world, with people who are struggling with chronic illness, who are struggling with chronic fatigue syndrome, post-viral fatigue, POTS, fibromyalgia, long COVID. You know, you're the one that deals with the people that email us and ask for help. And so we're going to do a series, and I think we're going to get you on regularly because your insight into what's actually happening, I think, is going to be really valuable for people, you know. And we just off air just a moment ago, we were just talking about the loneliness and the isolation that people who are going through chronic illness experience. Loss of friends, loss of love, loss of connection. And, you know, there's a common theme when people enter our program that they have a new family, you know, that they have a new support system, that they are literally understood within the first second of being accepted into our group. And so today's episode, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about friends. We're going to talk about isolation. We're going to talk about all the things around that. So if you're someone who is really struggling with the loss of friendship, or you're struggling to connect with people who are at your level now, in the sense of at your level of awareness and evolution in your life, and I think it's really hard. There's so much to talk about, really. Before we get into that, I want to talk about win of the week. And normally I specifically pick one person for this, but today I want to do something a little bit different. Recently I got this piece of art, and basically it's of the entire countries around the world. And I bought this to represent all our amazing, incredible members from 54 countries. And so today, I simply just want to give a shout out to all you guys. You're amazing. You know, I know some of you are really having a tough time, and I know some of you are doing really, really well, and everyone's on a different level of recovery. But what I do know is that every single one of our members is literally doing their best. And so I just want to give a big shout out to all of you. We know who you are. You know who you are. And just to keep at it, whether you're on the green line or the red line, I just want to give you a massive shout out because investing in yourself, being inside the program, showing up, getting coaching, supporting each other in the group, you know, the inspiration and the positivity and the encouragement, there's nothing like it. And so I just want to give a massive, massive shout out to all of the mentorship members and the lifestyle integration members, you know, current and past, just for being who you are. Big shout out. Let's get into the conversation. So I guess, Ash, like, what are you seeing? You know, what have you seen over the past, I don't know, 6 to 12 months, inside and outside of the program? Like, what is the common theme?
Well, I think on this topic of isolation and friendship, such a huge piece. It's such a huge piece because I think as humans, we're here to connect, yes? And when you're experiencing something like chronic illness, your life is changing. And with that, there can be huge adjustments to your friendship circles, your families, in multiple ways. You know, in ways and things that you are unable to do the things that you were doing socially. Perhaps the exercise that you're used to working is all potentially different. How you're, you know, relating to your friends and your family. But not only that, how you're feeling understood or not feeling understood.
Yeah.
And no longer being in a space where you perhaps feel like people get you or know who you are or understand you. You're now in this new space where the people around you, unless they've gone through it, don't really get it or can't really understand. And that's a really confusing, confronting place to be in.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest reasons why people come to us, and even before the online recovery program, you know, I have people fly from England, from all over Australia. I even got flown to Dubai. I think one of the biggest reasons the work resonated with so many people so early on without even a YouTube channel or anything like that was because I understood it. You know, I'd been through it. And so as soon as every client walked into my door, they didn't need to explain themselves. All I needed to say was, it's shit what you're going through. I know it's horrible. Your friends don't understand. Doctors think you're making it up in your head. You've had a million different blood tests and they still can't give you a freaking answer. How frustrating that is. I felt it myself. I went through it myself. I remember like punching a hole in the wall at my home because I was so angry and upset with the world. Why me? This is so unfair. I think when it comes back to friendships, you said it perfectly of just like, if you haven't been through it, it's just hard for people to understand. And I think one of the worst things is when, you know, your friends, whether it's at school or work or family, whilst they've got good intentions, them saying things like, you know, come on, you just need to motivate yourself. You need to push yourself a bit more. You're probably just depressed. You know, it's just like the cold or the flu, right? Like, you know, come on, shake it off. And it's so hurtful because one, you haven't asked for their advice, and I just hate unsolicited advice. Two, everyone's an expert these days. We call them Eddie the experts, and they just put their shit onto everyone else. And it's like, well, I didn't ask you. Like, where's your experience coming from? You know, have you actually been through it? Where do you get the credibility to give me that advice anyway? And thirdly, you don't even want that. You just want to be understood. Like, you just want someone to go, even if they've never been through it, you want that person to go, I just can't imagine how hard it would be for you right now. And just being there is like the biggest thing that a friend can do. You know, not trying to fix it, not trying to change the person, not trying to motivate them, but just like, what you're going through just must be so hard. And I'm here for you.
You want them there unconditionally in terms of, if I can no longer turn up how I was, coming to all the social events or meeting you for the coffees or meeting you at the gym or meeting you for a kayak, things are different, but there's that feeling of like, well, I still want my friends and family to like want me around and accept me and be here. I'm working on my health. I want you to understand, but also to be still supportive or in my corner.
One part of it is like their expectation of you, so boundaries. We have a training in our program, the Mentorship Hub, called How to State Where You Are At in an Empowering Way. We honestly share it all the time with our members because it's such a common problem that, how do I say where I'm at without it being negative or being overwhelming or having to talk about it too much? And it's an art, and it's really important that you master that, because over-explaining yourself all the time is exhausting and it's keeping you stuck longer. And so many people are in the over-explaining stage because of guilt and shame, and they feel like they have to make excuses for where they're at, and it's so exhausting. That's one aspect. The other aspect is your own judgments on yourself on how you need to show up to them. Like, you're overthinking it so much that you're like, if I say I have to leave early, they're going to judge me, and what if I don't feel like it? And it's just, there's so much to that too, of just like this shouldn't, you know, all over yourself kind of thing of like, oh, should I not? The whole prejudgment thing is actually half the battle too. So we need to look at both, stating where you're at in an empowering way. And then the opposite is just like, how are you showing up? You know, how are you to be around, basically? One of my mentors, Craig Harper, he has a great question, which is, well, what do you like to be around? You know, you're saying all these that people are so annoyed, but what do you like to be around? And I think it's such a good question to help you get out of that pit of like, oh, this is unfair, and constantly complaining and talking about your problems. Of course, you need to express where you're at sometimes, but talking about it constantly is like an old crappy radio station that you just want to turn off. And so the question is, how are you like to be around? And one of the questions that I always prompt our clients is, are you so focused on your pain that you're forgetting about everyone else's? And I don't mean physical pain, I'm just talking life pain, because everyone has pain in their lives. Yeah, we've all got something going on. And it's very easy when we're going through a hard time to think that we're the only ones suffering. Yet, if you ask the question to your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friend, and stop talking about your pain just for a moment and said, how are you going? Like, is everything okay with you? And just notice the energy shift for you in how you feel, because all of a sudden the focus isn't on your pain. And you might notice that other people go through pain too, and you can relax and you can, just be not having to always talk and just receive and just listen. And that's healing in and of itself.
And so looping back around, I guess, to this connection and friendship piece, what we see in our program, but what I see on the emails is everything we've just spoken about, people feeling disconnected, not understood, lost, and seeking that, feeling a bit floundering and lost in it because the current circle perhaps might not be giving them the support that they feel like they need. And that's not to say anything on the people. It's just purely if you haven't been through it or you haven't been in the space, it's very hard to understand. And so, we do see a lot of emails, a lot of people wanting to reach out, desperately trying to connect, to feel understood. But the beautiful thing that we do see is, the community, Toby, that you have created through all of this. We say this all the time on our calls, especially on our new member calls, to just highlight how supportive and judgment-free and understood and accepted our community is with our members. Because like you said, there isn't any time that needs to be used to explain how you're feeling. We get it.
Yeah, we get you. Yeah.
And everyone here gets it. So there's just pure love and support. And I had a member say to us recently, he was getting, emotional and feeling that he just felt so included and accepted and on the same page to be in the space of people moving towards the same goal.
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because my next thing was, there's seeking support and then there's seeking like empathy. And I think empathy is important, but it's not what's going to actually help you get better. I had a client many years ago. She wasn't a client, actually. She was a person who wanted to join the program. And I said, well, what do you think you need? Like, we talk about baseline, mindset. And she said, I just need my husband to understand. He needs to understand for me to get better. And for me personally, I felt like that was a limiting belief because, well, if you're believing that your husband needs to understand you in order for you to get better, what if he never understands you for the rest of your life? Her mind was just blown in a moment. All of a sudden, we switched the focus to out there to in here. And, I think one of the things that is very common in, I guess, the chronic illness space is seeking support, but not through the right environments that are conducive of healing, that are empowering, and they're going to help you move forwards. And so, unfortunately, there are some quite nasty support groups that aren't that supportive and that put you down. The amount of clients that have come to us who have been so upset because they've posted reaching out for help that they want to get better, and all of a sudden these people are saying, there's no such thing and you can't, and they're just projecting their own experience onto them. And so one of the clear distinctions that we have is that we have a no negative venting policy that is really strong at CFS Health. It's one of our key pillars because we believe that environment is so important for healing, and you must be in a conducive environment that's going to actually help you move forwards. And so there is no complaining. There is no negative venting. There's no putting each other down. There's only lifting each other up. And as Ash just said, when you're, as that man who's in our program, I'm not sure who it was, but when he said, he felt so understood and he's on the same page with everybody who's moving towards their goals and dreams, you have no idea how valuable that is until it's not there. Or if it's not there at all in the first place. You just have no idea the amount of suffering that could just go away in an instant just by being understood and also having a plan and a goal for the future. And I just think that's just missing so much in the world. And I mean, ultimately, that's why CFS Health was born.
Yeah.
The pain and suffering that I experienced was so extreme that all I could feel was the world suffering. It was such a heavy burden for me that I was like, I don't want to let anybody else have to go through what I'm currently going through. And that's how it started, you know. And it wasn't just about understanding it. It was like, we get it, but let's focus on what we can do to get better.
If going through a chronic illness on your own was easy, we wouldn't be here. Everyone would just be doing it on their own. You know, if it was easy to do it on your own, you'd be doing it on your own.
100%. Yeah. But like you said at the start of the call, we all need connection. You know, we all need accountability. I think one of the biggest things in the world right now is accountability. That's so valuable. I think without it, it's very hard to achieve greatness, you know, and I think anything great takes work. Anything great isn't easy. You ask anyone in the world, was getting to where you're at easy? And they say, oh, absolutely not. It was extremely hard, you know, unless you speak to the person who bought a lotto ticket and they won lotto overnight. They're like, oh my God, recovery's hard, but not recovering is harder. And that was my decision because I was like, this sucks. And like, yeah, recovery's going to take work. I got to show up every day. I love Carly Warson's quote, one of our past clients, and she did a success story. She said, you have to show up with energy in a time that you don't have any. And it just brings back so many memories of her because I watched her go from severely unwell over then a space of like 3-4 years to getting better slowly but surely and progressing to new levels. And now she's a wonderful woman who runs a global bikini company. She's actually just about to have a baby. She's got married. You know, I went to a wedding, which was just so special to see her walk down the aisle with her love. And 10 years ago, that was not even possible. And so it's so cool to see the full circle. And if I just look at that, it's just like, yeah, no one understood for her. You know, people tried, but like people trying was annoying for her. It was frustrating.
Well, but also even if they're trying, you still don't feel understood because it's not at a level that is fully understood.
It's a feeling, isn't it?
Fake understanding how someone feels.
Yeah.
If you've been there, you get it. Like it's a knowing. It's a different level of connection than just saying, I totally understand how you're feeling. Even if that is said, obviously that's incredibly helpful. But the difference of someone who has gone through what our members are going through saying, I fully understand you, and someone who hasn't is very different. There's a different level of knowing underneath it.
Yeah. Let's give some tips. I'd like to finish with this podcast with some tips for these guys. I think the first thing is, if you want to get better, don't seek empathy, seek connection.
Connection from the right people, just not blanket connection. You know, it's in life in general too, you know, but specifically in a situation where you have such a desire for things to be different. Don't go seeking connection from people who aren't seeking or aren't living the life that you're desiring, or it's not conducive to the direction you want to go.
Yeah. We talk a lot about environment as well, you know, it's so important. Before we get into tips, for the guys who are further along in their recovery, who are integrating back into life, I think one of the hardest things is you're a different person than you were before you got sick. And now that you're getting better, you're a different person than when you weren't sick. And there's a huge problem with this. You don't want to hang out with the people that you used to hang out with. And they're not in alignment with who you are anymore. And I think that is so hard. We've had a couple of clients deal with this lately in our lifestyle integration calls where they're like, I feel so bad because I just don't want to hang out with my friends anymore. Like nothing connects. They're still talking about the same shit they were talking about 10 years ago. I want to talk about life and living and passions and values and where I want to go. And it's because they've gone through this hard, deep, profound experience and journey that they don't want to talk about the weather and like what Judy did on the weekend. Like it's not riveting anymore. And so I just want to give a shout out to you guys. My suggestion to you is to invest time, energy, and money into things that are conducive of what you want. Exactly what Ash said. Where do you want to go? and then start to find people in those areas and arenas that you can start to move towards. Now, of course, if you don't have the funds and you can't invest in a coach or a mentor or a group or a mastermind, there's YouTube. There's so many free resources where you can, consume good material that can move you closer to where you want to go. But I think just know it's okay that friendships don't have to last forever. Just like relationships don't have to last forever. And I think it's important that obviously, you want to honor good, loyal friends who are there for you in hard times and good times. I think that that's so vital. If they're riding with you in bad times, they can ride with you in good times. But for the ones that it's just not connecting anymore, don't feel bad about it. Just know that your values have changed because you've gone through an experience. And usually our values change every 7 to 10 years. And that's okay. Just know that you're normal. You're not a bad person. It's just that your values are different, which means that you want to hang out with people who are more in line with your current values versus your old ones. So I just think that's a really important conversation to have just quickly, because I know a lot of guys feel really stuck. They're like in the middle. They're kind of getting better. They're living, and then they're going back to old relationships and friendships that don't serve them. And then they're like, how do I create new? And I think that's why so many of our members stay in our lifestyle integration program for 2+ years, because the conversation is so juicy.
That, and to have the support of how to navigate that tricky period outside with your friends and family, because it's one thing to be feeling like this is feeling different, but how do I navigate that? I need support in navigating that, because, these are things we're not taught in school. So it's like, yes, we do have members who stay with us for a very long time because they're loving the conversation, but it's also a support system to support these members on how to navigate these tricky, funny feelings in their friendships and relationships outside of the program.
Well, yeah, because you're not even focusing on recovery anymore. You're focusing on life. This is why lifestyle integration became our second program, our up-level program, as a transition from recovery focus to life focus. Because once you get better, life is hard. And when you're sick for so long, you think that life is a dream. You look at the outside world and go, oh, they're so lucky. Why can't my life be like that? And then you get to life and you go, oh shit, I need to work. I need to pay the bills. I need to deal with shitty, annoying people sometimes in the workplace that I don't want to deal with. That's a common problem we have with our clients when they go back to work in our lifestyle calls. They're like, how do I deal with this person? Their thinking is so negative and I want to change them and it's affecting how I feel. And so there's this whole navigation of life and living. And, one of the common quotes is a new level, new devil. It doesn't matter where you're at, whether life's amazing or life's really tough. There's always a new level to experience and then a new devil that comes with that. But I think for anyone across the board, I think really if we come back to some 3 key points, the first point is seek connection, not empathy. If you really want to move the needle, empathy's good initially. You need to be understood. But understanding is not enough for change. And I just see that way too often. People go, I just want to feel supported. And it's like, that's a good start, but it's not really going to get you anywhere. So seek connection, not empathy. Second piece is, find ways that are appropriate for you to have that kind of connection. Whether it's commenting on YouTube channels and meeting other people through those comments, if it's productive and useful. To be honest, the first step is stopping everything that's not serving you. I used to say on my enrollment calls with people when I used to do them before we've had people take over that role. But one of the things that I used to say to them is, all right, from today, we stop the support groups that are so negative, that are bringing you down, because we don't do that here at CFS Health. The question is is it really serving you? Maybe it's serving a part of you that wants to stay where you're at, but is it really where you want to go? Is it a healing environment? Yes or no? If it's a yes, stay. If it's a no, change it. So definitely start to get rid of anything that's in the way of where you want to go. And then the third piece, I think right now, is learn to express yourself in an empowering way. Like I said, our members with our training inside the Mentorship Hub, how to express yourself in an empowering way, is very important. Learn not to over-explain yourself. Where's that people pleasing coming from? And you're exhausted, they're exhausted, it doesn't work. So come back to yourself and go, how can I just state where I'm at in an empowering way and then change the conversation? And then with that is, what am I like to be around? And see how that can change just in a moment by deflecting the focus off you onto somebody else in a healthy way. I know I've been talking a lot about my own struggles lately, but I was just wondering, like, how are you doing? Just watch what happens when you do that. I'm so sorry. I've been so in my head lately. Yeah, are you okay?
Instant connection.
Yeah. So that's it. We were supposed to do 15 minutes. I think we went for 30.
Did we? Could talk forever. Could talk all day.
There's going to be a lot of podcasts coming up like this, but I think this one's a really important one, and hopefully this resonated with you at home. If you need help, we have this incredible program. We have a model that you can follow that works. We've been doing this for a long time now. We've had proven results for a long time. And so no matter where you're at, if you're ready to kind of go from seeking support to seeking a plan and getting that connection, but getting so much more than that, feel free to apply for our program. The team will send you all the details once you do that. And in the meantime, just keep consuming healthy content that serves your highest good, because there's so much of it. It's just that you need to stop all the stuff that's in the way to get to the stuff that's going to help you get on the way. I'm going to pick a card to wrap this up. Ash, do you want to say anything before we head off?
Well, the only thing that came to my mind as you were talking just then was this program is a life program. It's a life program. Yes, of course, the main goal is recovery, but what happens on that journey is life-changing in the best kind of way. The best kind of way.
The card today is, if you're watching it on YouTube, success leaves clues, follow it. And so again, is what you're putting yourself in front of moving you towards more success? Success does leave clues. And so, follow it, invest in it, invest in yourself, time, energy, money, resources, all that into where you want to go. And
that in others as well. Sorry, Toby. Yeah. I keep getting excited by what you're saying, but the success in yourself, follow that, the clues in your own life, but the success in others. Oh, that person's doing well. What are they doing?
Yep.
I'm going to follow that.
That's the power of our program, right? Because there's literally hundreds of people from all around the world. And you and I spoke about this yesterday. Just so much value by seeing someone else succeed and going, well, if it's possible for Jenny, it's possible for me. I tell members on our calls, I'm like, okay, I want you to literally comment under so-and-so's name and ask them, what are the 3 top things they did to get to where they're at? Because honestly, that's firsthand knowledge and value, and it's proof. And, that's one of the powerful things about our program and our coaching calls is that you just get so much from each individual, and it's just so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Hope this was helpful. We'll see you on another podcast soon. Au revoir. I hope you found this episode of the podcast really, really helpful. Here are 3 ways we can help you whenever you are ready. So first of all, we have a free information group on Facebook. And so if you do have a Facebook account, make sure you go and join that group. There is strictly no negative venting. It's a very supportive, uplifting group. And there are some great trainings in there that can help you get started with your recovery. So it's called the CFS Health Recovery Information Group. There's a link here anyway, so click that link and join it. The second thing is we have a bunch of free trainings that will really help you understand where you're at, but also help you move forward. So we're going to leave a bunch of free trainings for you. So click on that. We'll send it to your email, and obviously you can watch them in your own time. And thirdly, we've just created a 15-minute chat link. So if you're someone who's like, man, this sounds really good, this is really helpful, I really want some personal help, and you want to have a step-by-step plan that will help you go from where you're at to where you want to be, we have opened up a few spots to have a 15-minute call, no strings attached. Basically, this call is to see if or how we can help you. If we can, we'll be able to share with you some information on what that would look like. And if we can't, we'll send you some free resources that will help you if you would like to do that. So we're going to leave a link below. You can book in your 15-minute call. This is not a coaching call, so don't expect to get coaching in a 15-minute call. This call is really to have a conversation around you, what you need help with, and whether or not we can work together to help you get the results that you want. So if CFS Health, the mentorship program, sounds something that you're interested in, but you're just not quite sure about it yet, this is a perfect opportunity to book in that call, have a chat, and then of course we can go deeper if this is something that you would like to do. Hope you found the podcast helpful. Please leave some love, especially on the YouTube channel. Go and comment on the videos that you found helpful, and appreciate all your support, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. All the best for now. Speak to you soon. Bye.